Ladies and gentlemen, it's my unique pleasure to welcome you here to the Roxie on this momentous occasion for the world premiere debut of the Paul Meienberg Show. Very much for being here on our very first installment of the Paul Meienberg Show, a show that will undoubtedly be repeated over and over and over again.
Actually, I was a very big star in Hollywood during the silent period. I worked for Levine International Productions, and I refused the early talking pictures. It was 2 years, and they put me on suspension. 1931, 80 years ago. They didn't put me just on suspension, they put me on suspended animation. They froze me. Recently, the great-grandson thawed me out and told me I was still under contract to him. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's still 1931. It's the world I live in. Back in the mid-50s, I was about 15 years old, and our family took a trip to back east on the Great Northern Railroad.
There, try to get it steady.
Oh, I thought my fly was down or something. And
that's not my job.
So we took the Great Northern from Portland to Chicago, and it's pretty interesting when you're going through the Rockies, but when you're going through eastern Montana and North Dakota, it gets like really, really boring. So I'm like pacing away through, going to the dining car, and I was ahead of my parents and my brother, and I walked into this one club car, whatever it was, and it was very hardly anyone there, but I was walking through and I could see the back of this lady's head, very blonde. And I looked at her and said, Miss Trevor? And she said, no, what do you mean? Oh, I thought you remind me of Claire Trevor. Well, I had seen High and the Mighty about 2 years before, and Claire Trevor just blew me away. And this lady, she looked like, you know, somewhere between 40 and death, but she you know, back then the ladies wore those foundation garments that kind of like pulled it all in and up and everything. And she looked really good, and, you know, I just kind of introduced myself, and then I went down a couple of spaces and I sat in a seat kind of opposite so I could like check her out. And while I was daydreaming, staring at her, and she's back to her magazine, like laughing like crazy kid, you know. And so what happens, but my mother comes into the car and says, oh, there you are, Paul. Well, immediately this lady, she knew that I was the son, and she turns to my mother and strikes up this conversation. And, oh, where are you going? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you know how women are. Yeah. And I'm sitting there, Well, my mother would walk in and interrupt this daydream, you know. So that was it. But I didn't realize that Claire Trevor had been around like in Hollywood a good 21 years since 1933. But
I need to clarify. Was it actually a Claire Trevor story, or somebody that you mistook to be Claire Trevor story?
To be Claire Trevor.
So it's not quite a Claire Trevor story, but it's the closest thing to a Claire Trevor story.
It was when I thought Claire Trevor was the hottest thing in Hollywood.
After the lady on the train, right?
Yeah, really.
Well, there you go. Paul, any other salient words of inappropriate wisdom for the crowd?
I took this really big necklace in this morning. And I do want to thank the Roxie for this beautifully appointed dressing room in the back of the stage. It's a veritable hall of mirrors at Versailles. In fact, we're offering private tours, $50 donation, non-refundable if my description does not quite live up to. I sometimes exaggerate a little bit. But Roxie could use all your support, and I'm glad to be here. No, you never do.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul. This has been a great night, and we want to... Is Paul still here? Oh, there he is.
You don't need me anymore.
No, you get yourself right back behind that piano. So off we go with Big Town Girl, everybody, and we will see you at the next installment of the Paul Meienberg Show. Thank you.
I didn't have a vertigo attack.
No, well, we're all
It's kind of like that far from fade out.